hated it. But of course, you know, I thugged it out. You know, I'm a G. I got a couple of A's, couple of B's, couple of C's. C's get degrees. And all of a sudden, God was just like, yeah, you need to do it. I don't feel glad that I can have this, baby. Nobody else you. Nobody else makes me. Nobody else had a clue what I could do, what I could do. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I am going to be sharing my story time. Yes, this is true. This is not clickbait. I'm not pulling a prank. I actually did leave medical school. So I'm just gonna give you guys the whole tea, the whole rundown on the situation, what actually led me to go to medical school, why I started to leave, the whole process, and hopefully this video will help you if you're debating about going to medical school, debating about leaving medical school, or just really like trying to decide a big decision in your life. Hopefully my process will encourage you and inspire you and help you do the same. Before we get started, make sure that you are following me on all my social medias. I'm gonna start posting more lifestyle vlog type content since you guys have been asking for that. Also, make sure to check out my hair care line if you're interested in getting some products that help promote hair growth. Alrighty, well, let's get started. So I'm gonna start by just kind of quickly explaining why I decided to go to medical school in the first place, because I feel like that had a big part in why I actually decided to leave, ironically enough. Growing up, I was very smart. Like, I was in gifted from first grade all the way into graduating high school. I didn't get my first B until my sophomore year of college. I always made straight A's. I graduated high school with a 4.3, number 4 or 5 in my class, I think. So I was always on top of my work. A lot of people thought I was really smart because I enjoyed school, but it was actually the opposite. I hated school. I was just very competitive and wanted to be the best. That's why I made good grades. I have been interested in a variety of careers, and I've always found that they were more on the like creative side. I always said I never wanted to have a career where I would do the same thing every single day, especially when it came to a desk job. Could not do it. I remember one time wanting to be a pastry chef, but my dad was like, pastry chefs don't make a lot of money. Okay, well, I'm trying to be independent. I don't want to depend on a man. I need to find a career that will make me more money. Even though, like I said, I really didn't enjoy school, science was the only subject I tolerated. Depending on which science I was taking determined whether I liked it or not. Usually the science with the least amount of math was my go-to because I hate math, but I really just liked experimenting and formulating and things like that. I had points where I wanted to be an engineer, a chemical engineer, I believe. I wanted to be like a food scientist, you know, just different things like that. I also had like one point my freshman year of high school where I wanted to be a triple threat. Literally, I wanted to be a singer, actor, and a dancer. So yeah. As my junior year approached, I kind of had to like get real with myself and be like, okay, Brittany, you're about to go to college in like a year. You need to decide what you want to do. Because I still had no idea, even though, like I said, I was getting straight A's. I was on track in extracurricular activities and leadership roles. Like, I was, you know, doing it. And I remember at the time I was watching Grey's, and I had just started watching the series. Like I said, science was the only subject that I somewhat liked. And so I was like, why not be a doctor? I mean, they make good money and you are moving around all the time. You're not like doing the same thing all the time. Why not? So that's how I decided to be a doctor. So because of that, the summer before my senior year, I did this internship where I basically shadowed a bunch of different fields of medicine over like 3 weeks. And I shadowed surgery, ER, the cath lab, like everything. And I remember like at that time I had decided to be a surgeon because they make the most money. But after seeing my first surgeries, I saw a robotic hysterectomy and I saw a leg amputation. I wasn't like about to pass out or anything, but like it was gross. And I remember like kind of forcing myself to find that it was like kind of cool because like I had kind of decided that this is what I kind of want to do. So I had to kind of like it. Why am I saying kind of so much? And I remember at the time it was either me being a surgeon or me being an ER doctor, because ER doctors are constantly moving around and, you know, doing a bunch of different stuff. So again, didn't want a job where I did the same thing every single day. When I did shadow the emergency room, I shadowed a nurse. It was very fast paced and fun. The time flew by. So moving on to, you know, graduating high school, I majored in biology like most pre-med students do. My first year I did great, made straight A's, made the dean's list, all that good stuff. Then my second year came around and I started to like really hate my classes. I think I was taking like organic chemistry, and I was taking I don't remember, it was some other like few sciences. I think I was taking physics, maybe, I'm not sure, but it was like a bunch of different sciences, and I was only taking that and psychology, and I think like an art or something. And I remember like just being miserable. That's the first time in my life where I ever was depressed. I gained like 20 pounds, no exaggeration. All the extracurricular clubs that I was in my freshman year, I quit. I literally was just in my apartment, and I was an RA at the time, so I just worked and was in my apartment and I ate. It was the first time in my life that I didn't go to classes consistently. Like, there was a point where I would only go to like 2 classes a week. It was bad. And again, that was the semester that I made my first B. The only class I actually even like enjoyed, like genuinely enjoyed, was psychology. And I've always been like a brain type of person, so I found the subject very interesting. So I was like, okay, what if I change my major to psychology? Because I'm not enjoying my biology major. And I remember talking to my dad, and he convinced me not to do it, which in the long run was a good thing to do, because if I majored in psychology, I wouldn't have taken all the pre-med courses I needed to be applicable for med school, and also to be prepared for the MCAT. So it worked out. I ended up just getting a minor in psychology, but I still, like, as the years went by, I hated my classes. Some subjects were sort of interesting to me, but not passionate. I couldn't see myself doing them. It was just interesting to learn about or hear about. While I was in college, I did notice that I didn't do anything pre-med wise. I didn't join any groups. I didn't meet with a pre-med counselor. I didn't know anything about like a timeline to start studying for the MCAT or to get my applications ready, looking at schools I might want to go to and figuring out what I need to do, getting experience. I didn't do anything. And I feel like that was kind of a testament to how dispassionate I was about going to medical school, because I didn't care. Most students who are pre-med and really set on going to med school from the beginning, they start out like really like going hard with pre-med, trying to be the best applicant they can be. This was so bad that I didn't even realize that I could graduate early until like the semester before. It was my 3rd year of college, and I realized I could graduate at the end of that summer, which I did. I graduated college in 3 years. By the time I realized that, everything was already too late to even try to apply for medical school for the following year. So I kind of had no choice but to take a gap year and work on my application and then apply for the following year, which happened to be last year. Even then, like, even though I knew, okay, I need to start my application now for the year after, I didn't until the spring semester before I graduated. I had already missed out on some stuff that I needed for my application, like a letter of recommendation packet. I was behind on the MCAT. I hadn't even started studying for the MCAT till maybe like 2 months before I took it. I didn't get the score that I wanted. Everything was just very rushed because I had waited to the last minute, and looking back, it's just because I wasn't passionate about going. I applied to medical school, and then I got a job during my gap year as a scribe to just gain experience. And while I was a scribe, I started off as a scribe in the ER, and the more I was there for about 2 months, the more I realized like I couldn't see myself doing this. I saw some of the grossest procedures and things like that, and from a spectator's point of view, it looks cool, but like actually seeing myself doing that, I couldn't. I'm super introverted, first of all, and I hate touching people, so that should have been like a red flag like off the bat. And then I ended up being a scribe. Later on, I got transferred to a virtual scribe for I think it was a PCP, so a primary care physician. She was so nice, but like her job in and of itself was like boring. It was like literally the same thing every single day, the same types of patients with the same types of issues, and it was just very like repetitive, and I just could not see myself doing it at all. Fast forward, I get to medical school, and of course I'm very excited. It's my first year, new experience, new city. You know, keep in mind I was living at home at 21 for an entire year, so like going from that to like getting my own apartment, being in a different city, you know, having that freedom finally, like I was very, very excited. I just remember like my first day, it was fun, you know, orientation, I got to dress up cute, like everything was great. And then stuff started to hit. Workload started to happen, the balance between, you know, social media, my business, and school. The amount of coursework was insane. The amount of material you have to learn for a college final is the same amount of material, probably more, on an actual like exam. And the thing is, it's gonna be a lot for everybody, but it's 10 times harder when you're not passionate about it. One of the things that really threw me off of medical school was my anatomy lab, where you had to dissect a cadaver. And some of the things that I had to do, some of the things that I had to see was very traumatic, and I could not, I'm sorry, I had a loss for words. It was just, I hated it. If you follow me on TikTok, I had a live where I did talk about it, so some of y'all may be familiar, but I don't want to get like demonetized or my video taken down just for like anything I say about that. If y'all want that on a live or something, just let me know and I'll do it on a different platform. I definitely wish I never would have done it, and I kind of wish that I could remove it from my memory. So, you know, going through the semester, it's hard. Like, I'm struggling. It's new. I've never had to learn this much material and still have to go to class and do this and do that, and it was just a lot. But of course, you know, I thugged it out. You know, I'm a G. I'm not gonna quit. I don't give up. So I ended up, you know, passing my semester just fine. I got a couple of A's, couple of B's, couple of C's. C's get degrees. And then, you know, I had a break for Christmas. We only got about 3 weeks off. Something happened to me over the break. I can't really describe it. I just dreaded coming back to school. Everything I had gone through that semester, I didn't want to have to repeat, just like that mental stress and pressure and all that. I had this friend in medical school. We got really close my first semester because every single day, like, I would go over to her house and we would study together. So it's a new semester, over at her house studying, and she's like, okay, Brittany, what's wrong? Because you not acting like yourself, like, what's going on? And I'm like, you know, I don't want to do this. And when I said that, I was referring to like just not wanting to study, not feeling like having all this work on me, not feeling like going through all this like pressure and stress again for another like 4 months. That's what I was referring to. And then she basically told me, well, why don't you just leave? She was joking just to kind of like snap me out of the mood. My response should have been, no, you're right, let's keep going, I'm not about to leave. But when she said that, like, it clicked. Everything I had been feeling over the break and everything kind of just like light bulb. That's not something I had ever considered before until she said it, and I was like, what if I do? That kind of set off like a chain of events. You know, a month had gone by since we had that conversation, and I just remember like really thinking about it and like thinking about how my life would be if I did leave. I was like, okay, now it's time to go to God, because I'm thinking about this way more than I should be, and if this is something that I'm really like thinking about doing, I need to like ask God about it, because I don't know if this is just a temporary feeling or just a spiritual attack from the devil just trying to throw me off my game. I kind of sense in myself like this isn't like a joke, like this is something I really need to pray about. So for the first time in my life, I did a fast. If you know me in real life, you know I love meat. Like, I'm a steak and potatoes type of girl. I gave up meat for 6 weeks. I gave up all secular music for 6 weeks, which is hard because I love Mulatto, I love Summer Walker, and I was in my word every single day. I started Proverbs because that's the book of wisdom, and I really needed to get some wisdom on how to make this choice in my life. My plan was just to do the fast until I got an answer from God, but it only lasted 6 weeks because I remember it was, I think, March 17th, and I was watching my Sunday sermon, and all of a sudden God was just like, yeah, you need to do it. Once I got that answer, I was very scared, but deep down I was okay. On the surface, I was like, what the heck, my life is now about to change. The stability I have has just been wiped from under my feet, but deep down I knew like, it's okay, he has me. I just remember telling my best friend, and like my best friend, like she's a hard Christian like me, so she will easily tell me, nope, that's not right, or yeah, that's right. We're so close that we have spiritual discernment over each other, so like I can sense when something's spiritually attacking her and vice versa. I was surprised because when I told her, she was like, yeah, I think you should. I don't see anything wrong with this, like I can sense it. And so she was on board with me, and that really helped. That's why it's important to have good company around you, because my best friends really are ride or die. So this was in March, so I had about 2 months left in the semester, and so at that point I was like, okay, I can't quit the semester simply because I would always regret it. I didn't want to, a part of the reason I was leaving to be because I felt like I couldn't do medical school. I wanted to prove to myself that I can pass all my classes. I'm just as good as any other medical student. I'm solely making this decision because this is not the path that God has for me over my life. And so then, you know, going through the semester, all that, and then during May I took my last final. The second I walked out that building, I just felt peace like cover me, wash me, reign over me. Ooh, thank you, God. It was just a beautiful feeling, and at that point I knew like I was okay. So basically, after, you know, the semester ended, I had to tell my parents. That didn't go great. It didn't go terrible, but it also didn't go great. I think they're still now struggling to accept the fact that I'm leaving. My dad was very concerned. He's like, you know, your businesses fail. He doesn't really understand like the influencer career because he's not of my generation, which makes sense. So he thinks that I'm just doing something that I see on TV or whatever, which I understand. He's just looking out for me. One thing that he did say that really stuck with me, he was like, I think you should still get your medical degree. That way you can have doctor in front of your name, because degrees carry weight. So he's like, I think you should just push through the next 3 years, and then if you say you don't want to practice and you want to do social media, do that. Unfortunately, medical school isn't something you can just push through for 3 years, and I feel like if you haven't been in medical school, it's kind of hard to understand that. But I did understand what he was saying about the degree, so I've already decided to go and get my master's in psychology. I had decided in medical school to pursue psychiatry, so I just decided to take it back, get my master's in psychology. So I'm just waiting on to see if I'm accepted or not, which I'm speaking that I am. And then if I decide to pursue an actual like psychology career, then I'll do that. But right now I'm just focusing on getting the master's. As far as like what else I'm doing now, I'm honestly just focusing on growing my business and growing my platform. Thankfully, my business is able to support me financially. I'm not where I want to be with my business, but I'm definitely like in a good spot with it. And one thing I did struggle with was questioning like if this is the right decision, because why would God allow me to get into medical school with how much I like have everything to get here? Most people like diligently like work for their applications and stuff and don't get in their first time. Like that's not common to get into medical school your first time. So the fact that I put in lackluster effort but still got in my first try was like confusing. After thinking about it, it's like if I never would have decided to go to medical school, I never would have been on a gap year, and I never would have started social media. The only reason I started social media was because I finally, for the first time, had the time to do it because I wasn't in school. After being on TikTok for only a week, my video getting 4.5 million views, growing 80,000 followers overnight, within like 10 months getting to 1 million followers. I have 45,000 followers on Instagram now. So it's just like, it's only up from here. The only thing that I can say is just like, if you're struggling to make a big decision, just pray about it. Trust God. Go the way He wants you to go, and just wait on Him for an answer, because He'll give it to you. And also, like, if you are making a drastic change in your life, trust God, because right now all I'm doing is walking by faith. My life is very uncertain right now, and that's the first time I've ever had this in my life where I do not have a plan for my future. Nothing is laid out for my future, and it's very scary, but that's when you have to really just trust God and trust that He has a plan and a purpose for you, because deep down I know I'm going to be successful. Alright guys, well, thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments and I will be more than welcome to answer. Of course, I'm not going to be making like med school content anymore, but if you do want a video on like everything I did to get in medical school and like a more detailed video of like my experience, definitely let me know and I will make that. But right now I'm just going to be focusing on hair content and lifestyle content. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload. Again, make sure to follow me on my social medias for daily content, and check out my hair products if you're trying to promote hair growth. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Tell me what you see in me.